Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Namo Gurubhyaha. We finished the third Brahmanam in the third chapter. Just to give you some recap, this third chapter started with Janaka, the king, calling all the different Panditas, correct? And he wanted to know who is the best among all the Panditas. So he also announced a reward of 1,000 cows, and not just cows, but the cows also will have some gold tied in their horns. And he wanted to find out the best amongst all the people who have assembled there, and that person will get these cows and the gold. Once Janaka announced that, Yajnavalkya straight away asked his Shishya to take all these cows. When he did that, all the others who were present, they became very angry, correct? They thought that who is this Yajnavalkya? How does he claim that he is the best amongst all of us? What kind of arrogant guy this guy is? So they started asking him questions. And in fact, Yajnavalkya says, I don't even claim I am the best here, but I am interested in these cows. Pashukamaha. So I am desirous of having all these cows, so I am taking it. Now you can find out whether I am the best or not, something like that. So Ashwala first questions Yajnavalkya. Ashwala is the Pota of, Pota means the Rigvedic Pandita. So of Janaka, in fact, he is the royal Pota. He first questions him, and that is called Ashwala Brahmanam. That was the first Brahmana we saw. Ashwala Brahmanam, mainly it actually talked about the, you can say Hiranyagarbha Upasana only. Then after Ashwala asked all his questions and he remained silent, Artha Bhaga started questioning Yajnavalkya. So Artha Bhaga's questions also focused on the Hiranyagarbha only. What are the limitations? Hiranyagarbha also has all these limitations of a body, mind, sense complex, although it may be the totality. Okay. Then Bhujyu Brahmanam is the last Brahmana we saw, where even the Hiranyagarbha Loka, what is the dimensions of that Loka? So even if you attain through karma and upasana, whatever maximum you can attain, correct? You can have the greatest punya, and even with that punya utkarsha, whatever maximum you can attain, even that loka is having some limitations. After that, only jnanam is the only sakshat karanam for moksha. So these things were already pointed out. From the fourth Brahmanam, which is what we are going to see, which is called, this is called Ushastha Brahmanam, because Ushastha is going to ask the question. We are actually going into a Brahma Vidya, because Ushastha starts asking about Brahman. The question itself is about Brahman, and the particular Vakya which is used here is very, very famously quoted by Bhashyakara all the time. Okay, Yat Sakshat Aparokshat Brahma. That is all from here only. So this Ushastha Brahmana onwards, we are actually entering Brahma Vidya, and another up to 9 Brahmanas are there, correct? Another 6, including this, 6 more Brahmanas, all Brahma Vidya and very, very important portion of the Upanishad. So I hope we will enjoy that. So this Ushastha Brahmanam is starting now, and Bhashyakara gives introduction. Let us see that. Ataha yenam Ushastaha Chakrayanaha Papracha. So thereafter, after Ujju became silent, this Yajnavalkya was asked by Ushastha, who is Chakrayanaha. Chakrayanaha means the son of Chakra. Okay, Chakrasya Apatyam Chakrayanaha. And again, Bhashyakara gives introduction. What is that? Punya Papa Prayuktaihi Graha Atigrahehi Grihitaha Punah Punaha Graha Atigrahan Tyajan Upadadat Samsarati iti Uktam. So it was already said, iti Uktam. What was said? That the one who is a samsari, correct? One who has identification with the body, mind, sense complex, that person is impelled by that his own karma, his or her own karma, which is the punya and papa, correct? Punya papa prayuktaihi. So the one who is impelled by punya and papa, by karma, and that karma only results in a particular type of body, mind, sense complex, correct? Graha atigraha means the sense organs and the sense objects. Okay. So the one who is possessed of these sense organs and one who is going after all these sense objects, that person impelled by one's own punya and papa again and again. Okay, what does he do? He gives up the body, but again upadadate takes it another body. You give up one body, take up another body. So it keeps on going. It's a vicious cycle. That is the samsara. Samyak sarati, samsarati iti uttam. This was said. And also what was said, punyasya cha para utkarshaha vyakhyataha. And punya gives you very exalted results. That also was said. And what is the maximum you can gain by having a lot of punya, let us say. What is that? Vyakrita vishayaha samashti vyashti rupaha dvaita ekatva atma praptihi. So this dvaita prapancha is there, the world, the universe of duality, and here whatever is vyakrita means whatever is manifest, whatever is differentiated. The differentiated world, the manifest world is available to you in the form of individuals and totality also. Samashti vyashti rupaha. And this you can attain, or you can become the self of all this dual world. That is the maximum you can gain by punya. That is the Hiranyagarbha. Okay. So ekatva atma praptihi. Okay, so you become the self of all these things. You have an identity with this entire prapancha, both as the individuals, and you pervade all the individuals and have identity as the total. That is the Hiranyagarbha. That's what you can gain with punya, maximum punya. Further what? Yastu graha atigrahaihi grastaha samsarati saha asti va nasti. Astitvecha kim lakshanaha. Okay, the one who is transmigrating, okay, one who is possessed of all this sense organs and sense objects, graha and atigraha, and one who is traveling, correct, transmigrating from one body to the other, one body mind sense complex to another. Who is that? What is that Atma? Is it there or not? If it is there, what is its nature? What are its characteristics? Now that is what this Ushastaha he wants to know. Correct? Iti Atmanaha eva Viveka Adhigamaya Ushastha Prashnaha Arabhyate. So the question of Ushastha is about this Atma itself. That which is separate from the body, mind, sense complex, is it there or not? And what is its nature? Okay. For that purpose only his question, he is starting his question. तस्य च निरुपाधि स्वरूपस्य क्रियाकारक विनिर्मुक्त स्वभावस्य अधिगमात् यतोक्तात् बंधनात् विमुच्यते सप्रयोजकात्. So the one who, if you know, okay, अधिगमात् means you get it. Get it means you know it, knowledge only. So by knowing that which is free from all the upadhis, the Shuddha Chaitanyam, and that which is in fact free from all actions also, all factors of actions, all kind of activity, that which is free, it is nishkriyam, correct? It is nirgunam, nishkriyam, that is the nature of oneself. So by knowing this vastu as oneself and as the one which is free from all the upadhis and all types of activity and from all types of factors of action also, then you can become free from the bandhana which is talked about as in the form of graha and atigraha, correct? And the one which is actually impelling that also, saprayojakat means along with the cause. The graha, atigraha, lakshana, bandhana itself is only an effect. What is the cause of that? This punya papa. And the punya papa itself is there because you take yourself as karta bhokta. So once you gain this knowledge and know yourself as the one who is free from all kinds of activity and factors of action, then you are free. You are no more a karta bhokta only. Then where is the question of any karma? All karma also are gone. So that is why this particular Brahmana is started to know this Atma. That is the Brahmana Sambandha he has given now already. Now he says, Akhyayika Sambandhastu Prasiddha. Why it is said like a story, that is very well known because already it was also talked about, correct? Why should this be presented in the form of a story? Means if you present it as a story, it is easy to understand. It is only like it is for easy comprehension. All these things are said in the form of a story. So that is the purpose of having it as a story. That is known already. So now actually what the Ushastha asks, let us see that. Ataha yenam Ushastaha chakrayanaha papracha. So this yenam Yajnavalkyam, this Yajnavalkya is now asked by Chakrayana. Chakrayana asks Yajnavalkya thereafter. And he actually draws his attention by calling him Yajnavalkyeti Hovacha. First he calls, hey Yajnavalkya, and gets his attention, and then he asks, what did he say? Yat Sakshat Aparokshat Brahma. So this Sakshat Aparokshat Brahma is a very, very, very popular Vakya. And that is what actually you can say describes Brahman most clearly and accurately, you can say. So Sakshat means that which is immediately available, that which is not separated in any way from you. And also the word aparoksha is used. Aparoksha means something which you directly experience, that which you know very clearly. See, normally when we talk about knowledge, we talk about paroksha jnanam, pratyaksha jnanam. Okay. Paroksha means that which is not directly available for experiencing, but still you know that. Using inference, you are indirectly knowing something, or somebody's words also you can know indirectly. Right? Somebody is telling you about something. So words can give indirect knowledge, inference can give you indirect knowledge. So you indirectly know something, that is called paroksha jnanam. then whatever you directly experience, that which is there in your presence through your sense organs, whatever you experience, that is called pratyaksha. Sometimes this pratyaksha also can be referred to as aparoksha, because it is not paroksha in that manner, you can say. But when we talk about oneself or Brahman as oneself, it is called aparoksha, means it is not something which is indirect, it is direct, it is immediate, but it is also not pratyaksha. That is why that sakshat is used. Sakshat means you don't even require any medium in between means of knowledge, etc. Because for pratyaksha jnanam, you are constrained by your own senses, correct? That's why whatever you know through your senses also, you cannot claim that you know it completely. Whatever your senses are reporting, only you know, that much only you are limited by that, in fact. How a bat is seeing something, how a honeybee is seeing something, how an owl is seeing something, how even dogs can listen to much more than what we can, correct? Because their range of hearing is higher. They can even hear ultrasound. Our range is only from 20 to 20,000, means their range is bigger in terms of the frequency and all that. So even the pratyaksha, whatever we are knowing, it is all only limited by the senses. But there is only one thing which does not require even any in-between instrument, correct? Any sense organ, nothing. That is yourself. Self is self-revealing, self-evident reality. That is the only thing you can know completely, totally. Everything else is only known either indirectly or through the medium of your sense organs, and all that is dependent on whatever your sense organs are revealing. This Atma is the only one which is known without the usage of any sense organs, any means of knowledge, any pramana. If I ask you, are you there? You say, yes, I am there. But to know I am there, you don't have to use any pramana. That is why it is called Swaprakasha, Swata Siddha. That which is self-existent, self-revealing. Self-revealing is Swaprakasha. Swata Siddha means self-existent, self-revealing reality. That is this Atma. That is why it is Sakshat Aparokshat. It is not just Aparoksha. It is Sakshat Aparokshat, means it is not even Pratyaksha. It is yourself, in fact, which is available to you, and you know your own existence without any intermediary means of knowledge or instrument or anything. You don't require anything. That is why this Sakshat Aparokshat is a very, very important thing to know about oneself. So he asked that. In the question he is asking, actually, Yat Sakshat Aparokshat Brahma. Maybe he is asking because he has studied the Shastra, and Shastra is also talking about it like that. And he asks, Ya Atma Sarvantaraha, that which is the innermost of all the beings, the self of all the beings, the innermost self of all the beings. Because when we say self, why do we have to say Antaratma, inner self and all that? That is because in general, people take their body, mind, sense complex as the self, correct? The self is placed in many areas. There are many locus where the self identity is there. All that, those locus, they are all locus of error, in fact, because this self identity itself is erroneous. That's why they are called kosha and all that. Koshavat achadaniya, we say, that which covers as though like a cover, because it covers your reality about yourself. You are placing yourself on the wrong thing. Anatma is taken as Atma. So to distinguish it, only the Sarvan Antaratma has to be said, inner self and all that. And this Antaratma, again we are talking about the Antaratma of all the beings, of everybody. That is Brahman. Brahman is limitless, means it has to be the Antaratma of all the beings. It has to be within everybody. It has to be the essence of all the things, the entire objective world and all the subjective beings who are there, sentient beings. So Yaha Atma Sarvantaraha Tam Me Vyachakshva, he asked. No, no, tell me about that. This Brahman which is immediate and which is directly known clearly, and which is the self of all the beings, that you know, show me that Brahman. Explain to me what is that. Teach me. Okay. He asked, he said that Iti Hovacha. Then what did Yajnavalkya say? He gives a very simple answer. He says, Yeshata Atma Sarvantaraha. He says, it is yourself. This self, which is yourself, is the self of all the beings also. Sarvantaraha. It is the one, this self, which is yourself, is the one which is there inside all the beings also. It is this self only, yourself only. Yeshaha, he uses the pronoun. Etat means that which, if you want to point out something which is very near to you, then we use this etad pronoun, sarvanama. Okay, so yeshaha te atma. So your atma, yourself, is the one which is there. Sarvantaraha, it is the one which is there within every being. So even after Yajnavalkya points it out that it is yourself only, it's not very clear to Shastaha. So he says, Katamaha Yajnavalkya Sarvantaraha. What is this self which you are saying is there, which is there in all the beings? Because when we talk about the self, obviously there is confusion with reference to the self, correct? Which is the self you are talking about as the one which is there? Because the word Atma itself can be used for many different in many different meanings, correct? Depending on the context. Atma can mean the physical body, Atma can mean the mind, the antakarana. So all these confusions are there. So yes, what is this Atma you are talking about, which is there in all the beings? Sarvantaraha. Then Yajnavalkya, obviously Atma not being an object, it cannot be defined like any other object, correct? If you define that which is limitless, that very definition will make it limited and it will defeat the purpose, correct? So Yajnavalkya has to indicate the self which is not an object and which is not the meaning of any one word or a group of words and all that. It cannot be defined really. It is, of course, even though it is not definable, it can still be pointed out because it is yourself. That is the whole idea. Understand that. So he has to point it out indirectly only. So he is giving an indirect answer first. Okay, so what does he say? He says, Yaf pranena praniti sata atma sarvantaraha yaha apanena apaniti sata atma sarvantaraha yaha vyanena vyaniti sata atma sarvantaraha yaha udanena udaniti sata atma sarvantaraha yeshata atma sarvantaraha, like this. So yeshata atma sarvantaraha, this yourself is the one which is there in all the beings. He repeats that. And before that, what he says, and what is this Atma? This Atma is the one due to which your prana is functioning. The breathing happens, correct? Pranena praniti yaha. That is your Atma. Or apanena apaniti, due to which, because of which the apana functions as the apana, the breath which goes out. It's able to function. Or due to which the vyana is able to function. In fact, only 4 samana is missed out here, but that's okay. So this 4, basically all the physiological activity in your body, it is happening in the presence of which consciousness? That is you. That's what Yajnavalkya is pointing out, and that yourself, which is that limitless consciousness, is the self of all the beings also. So like this, he is pointing out. Since Atma is not an object, it cannot be defined like any other object, like a cow or a horse or anything. Now that is the problem also. That is the subtlety. Atma Vidya, in one way, it is very simple because it is about yourself. But why does it become complicated? Why does it become confusing? In fact, most people are very confused because all throughout our life, we have known everything by objectifying it in our mind. Understand that all knowledge which we have gained are all as an object of your mind. It is an object of your knowledge, in fact. But this Atma can never be objectified, and it need not be objectified. But still, due to your whatever tendency to know something by objectifying, you are still expecting that. You fall into that trap of trying to objectify yourself or knowing yourself. That is why people are going after some experience. They are all very, of course, some enthu is there. You do some meditation, you hear something, some sound and all that. You see some sight, some bright things are there, some devata is appearing. All that is fine. In fact, we do not deny any of those things. Or you gain some power, super sensory power, extra sensory power, all that also is fine. It's all yogic. We talk about Ashtamaha, Siddhi, etc. We accept all of that. But the only thing is, none of that is Atma Jnanam. Understand that all these things are also still Anatma only. Anything which is an object of your knowledge is Anatma. Whatever I see is not I. It's as simple as that. So Atma Jnanam means, in fact, it cannot be even knowledge in the sense like an objective knowledge. You have to be yourself. That's it. In fact, it is shedding all wrong notions about yourself and then being yourself. That's all is this Atma Jnanam. That is moksha. So it is subtle in that way. And all these things have to be conveyed through the words only. Understand that. The Guru has to convey you this vision. Guru has to first have this vision and then convey this through words. He has to convey through words that which is not the meaning of any one particular word, that which cannot be really defined by any one word, that which is not an object of any word, that which is not an object of your mind also, correct? Yato vacho nivartante aprapte manasa saha. So that which cannot be pointed out as this by any word or even as an object of your mind, that has to be still taught only through words. That is the beauty of Vedanta. That is why this knowledge itself is very subtle in one way if you look at it. But if you understand this, it is the simplest thing to know because it is yourself. All you have to do is get rid of all the wrong notions. All the effort is there only. That is also a difficult thing because there is natural tendency to place yourself in all sorts of things, okay, which are not you really. So that is where the difficulty is. So this knowledge is a subtle knowledge and it has to be revealed in a certain manner. There is a methodology of teaching is so important. That's why. Otherwise, you can just go in circles. You can have all the right intention that you require moksha, etc. But you will be sitting your whole life in meditation for some special experience. Any experience also is useless because we are talking about the nature of the experiencer here. Understand that? So that is the important thing. You have to understand yourself as you are. So let us see what Bhashyakara says. Ataha yenam prakritam yajnavalkyam ushastha namataha chakrasya apatyam chakrayanaha papracha. So the one who is the son of Chakra, he asked this Yajnavalkya, Enam, this Yajnavalkya, the one who is known as Ushasta and one who is the son of Chakra, he asked him. And what did he ask? He asked, Yat Brahma Sakshat. So that Brahman which is Sakshat means what? Avyavahitam kenachit. Avyavahitam means that which is not separated by anything or that which does not require any other medium in between. Okay, that which is immediate, that is the Sakshat. So avahitam kenachit drashtuhu. So it is not separate from, in fact, the seer. It's not separate. It is not separated. It doesn't require any in between intermediary. And also aparoksha, that which is not indirect. Agaunam also Bhashyakara says, not figurative also. Whatever he is asking here about Brahman, it is immediate and that which is direct and clear. Because sometimes Brahman in Upasana and all, you do Upasana, Shrotram is Brahman, all this, correct? Na Shrotra Brahmadivate. Because the Upasanas were talked about even before we have seen. Even that when we saw the Ajata Shatru Brahmanam, initially the Sagunam Brahma only was talked about, correct? So here we are talking about Nirgunam Brahma, that Brahman which is immediate, which is not separate from oneself, which is available. So that Brahman, what is that? Kim tat yat sakshat aparokshat Brahma, kim tat. And also that which is yaha atma, atma shabdena, pratyagatma uchyate. So here atma is the inner self, pratyagatma. The atma which is separate from the body, mind, sense complex, that atma. And as pratyagatma, this atma shabda is very popularly known. So Bhashyakara says, tatra atma shabdasya prasiddhatva. So in that meaning, as pratyagatma, the inner self only, this word self itself is very popularly used. So here Atma is the Pratyagatma and not mind or physical body or anything. And that is the one which is what? Sarvantaraha means Sarvasya Abhyantaraha, that which is there inside all the beings. Sarvantaraha. And again Bhashyakara here says, Yad Yaha Shabdabhyam Prasiddhaha Atma Brahmeti. So from this Yat and Yaha, what is pointed out here from using these words, whatever is very well known as Atma, and that is Brahman alone, correct? Yet Sakshat, Aparokshat Brahma, Yaha Atma also is used. The same Yat and Yaha, these are all pointing to the same Vastu, correct? Same Adhikaranam. From this also we know that whatever is popularly known as Atma, that itself is Brahman also, the limitless. Because the word Brahma itself comes from Brihi Vriddhau. So that which is big and unqualified bigness, in fact. So that Atma only, Tam Atmanam, Me Mahyam, you teach me, Me Vyachakshva is there, correct? Vyachakshva iti. Vyachakshva means Vispashtam, clearly you teach me. Vyachakshva means. Okay, we are, the two prefixes are there. So Bhashyakara, we means Vispashtam, clearly you have to tell me. And how, like even if you want to ask, somebody asks what is a cow, then you hold the horns of the cow and show, it seems. See, this is the cow. Like that. So Vispashtam Shringe Grihitva Yatha Gam Darshayati Tatha achakshva. You show me, like even you, if I ask you what is a cow, you can hold the horns of that cow and show this is the cow. Like that, you show me Vispashtam. Clearly, you tell me what is this Atma, which is the self of all, which is Brahman, which is Aparokshat, Sakshat, Aparokshat Brahma. Show me that. Saha ayam ityevam kathayasva ityarthaha. So this is that Atma, this is that Brahman, like that you clearly show me. Okay, once questioned like this, what did Yajnavalkya do? So eva muktaha prati aha Yajnavalkya. So in this manner, when he had been told, he then answered back. What did he say? Yeshaha te tava atma. So this your atma, yourself, tava atma, sarvantaraha. It is inside everybody, all the beings. Sarvasya abhyantaraha. Sarva visheshena upalakshanartham sarvantara grahanam. So from this adjective sarva, what is pointed out? It is pointing out inside everybody, okay, every being. Sarvantara grahanam. Sarva means that antara also we have to include. So sarvantara grahanam, sarva visheshena upalakshanartham sarvantara grahanam. Yet sakshat avyavahitam aparokshat agaunam brahma brihattamam atma sarvasya abhyantaraha. So you have to understand that this sakshat, this direct, immediate Brahman, which is there without any separation from yourself. And again, by Brahman, we are not talking about any Sagunam Brahma or any figurative usage. This Brahman, which is again Brihattamam, which is the limitless. It is the biggest, big without any qualification. Because big mosquito, you can say, big mountain also you can say. Big itself can have all this taratamya. The relatively, if you look at it, there are gradations are there in big. But here, big is a noun. It's not an adjective. Means it is the biggest. It is the limitless. This Brahman, which is all pervading. That's why it is in fact sakshat also. It is very immediate. There is no distance between this Brahman and yourself. There is no separation. And that is the Atma also. That is the self of everybody. Okay. So that is yourself. In fact, yourself is the one which is Brahman also, which is the self of all the beings. This yourself itself is that. Like this, Yajnavalkya points out. He gives the answer. So etaihi gunaihi samastaihi yuktaha yeshaha ko asau tava atma. So with all the one which is having this guna or this quality of being the atma of all the beings, and that which is brihattamam also, that which is limitless, the one which is having all these characteristics, that is this. And what is that? Your own self. Yourself is the one which is having all these characteristics. And again, when we say tava atma, what is it? Yaha ayam karyakarna sangataha tava saha yena atmana atmavan sayesha tava atma. So that which is indwelling this karyakarna sanghata, this aggregation of body mind sense complex, that which is there within that, the dehi. And due to that, in fact, this body and all is having a self, correct? It becomes the one which is having a self. Atmavan. It becomes, due to which Atma, the body becomes an Atmavan, the one which has the self. And that is your Atma, that is the yourself itself. And that is the one. Tava karyakarna sanghatasya ityarthaha. So the Atma of your own body, mind, sense complex, this individual self alone is the self of all also. That is what is pointed out. That can be incredible, correct? How can this embodied consciousness be the one which is the self of all, means that is the teaching. That you are taking yourself as embodied in a particular body mind sense complex is the ignorance. That is the problem, in fact. So that is why the teaching has to point out your reality as the limitless conscious being. Okay, the self which is available in this body mind sense complex only is the self of all also. So that we have to understand. So Bhashyakara points out further, Tatra Pindaha. So here, this Pinda, this individual body is there. Tasya Abhyantare Lingatma Karana Sangataha. And again, within this physical body, there is a Lingatma, means indicatory body, means that which indicates whether consciousness is there or not, some being is there or not. That is the Sukshma Sharira, which is having all the Karanas, correct? Whether it is the senses or the mind. Okay, so all the Karanas, Bahya Karanas, Antara, all the Karanas, Antakarana and Bahya Karana. But the one which is different from these two, the Karya Karana Sanghata, Tritiyaha, other than this, Yascha Sandikhyamanaha, that which is being doubted whether it is there or not, that Atma is there. Okay, that is the one which is pointed out as your Atma, and that is the one which is the Atma of everything. That means basically your Atma is not limited to only this body mind sense complex. That is what Yajnavalkya is pointing out. So teshu katamaha mama atma sarvantaraha tvaya vivakshitaha ityukte. But even after telling this, our Ushastaha is not clear. So he is still asking, katamaha Yajnavalkya sarvantaraha. He asks again, what is this Atma you are saying which is the self of all? How can myself be the self of all? Because he still has doubt. What is this self which you are talking about? Means now again Itaraha, he said this, the other one. Yajnavalkya says this. What? Yaha pranena mukhya nasika sancharita praniti pranacheshtam karoti. That which through your prana is making this prana function, correct? Through that it is functioning. Means basically it makes the prana function as it is through your main nose. Nasika sancharita, it goes through your nose. Pranacheshtam karoti, yena pranaha praniyate ityarthaha. Again, Bhashyakara is again pointing out, Kenopanishad also is there, correct? Shrotrasya shrotram manaso manaha vachoha vacham savu pranasya pranaha chakshusas chakshur atimuchya dhiraha pretyasmal lokat amrita bhavanti. Even there it is there. Yaf pranena na praniti yena prana praniyate tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam edidam upasate. So this Kenopanishad is very beautiful. It teaches this Brahman very clearly, and that is what yena prana praniyate, that by which prana itself is prana, is functioning as prana. That is this consciousness. In its presence alone, all these things are happening. In fact, it does not do anything by itself. It is free from all activity, but in its presence, these things are functioning as they are. And that sahate tava karya karana sangatasya atma vijnanamayaha. And that is this individual self. Vijnanamayaha, Bhashyakara has been using consistently even from the time of the Ajata Shatru Brahmana as the individual self. So the individual self, which is the self of this, which is the embodied self, the self which you are taking as embodied within this body mind sense complex, that is the one. Okay, samanam anyate, that is the one which is there, sarvantaratma. That's what again he is pointing out. Because of this individual self only, everything is functioning in your body. Your prana is functioning as prana. Samanam anyat means all other similar, means apana is functioning as apana, vyana is functioning as vyana, udana is functioning as udana, like that. You have to take samana is functioning as samana. So are all other things also, it's all only upalakshana, correct? Not only the prana, all the organs also are functioning as themselves. Your mind also is yen manasana manute yenahur mano matam tadeva brahmatvam vidhi. Even mind is mind, correct? Manaso manaha. The mind of the mind means what? That which makes the mind function as the mind. Like that, you have to take everything with reference to your own body. And that Vijnanamaya, that individual self itself is the Sarvantaraha. It is the one which is there in all the beings. And again here, Bhashyakara points out on grammar point. He says, Yaha apanena apaniti. There is a dirgha is there. Apaniti is there, not apaniti. Yaha vyanena vyaniti also is there. These two, Chandasam dairghyam, he says. This dirgha, niti, like that. That is Chandasa, means that is Vedic license. It's not classical Sanskrit. So in Veda, certain things are different. So it is allowed. It is Vedic usage. Chandasam, this Dirgha is Chandasam. Then Sarvaha, Karyakarana Sanghata Gataha, Prananadi Cheshta, Daru Yantrasya Iva Yena Kriyante. Okay, Bhashyakara now tries to explain using a analogy. So Daru Yantra means what? Daru means wooden. So all these wooden puppets are there, correct? These wooden puppets, they cannot do anything by themselves. Somebody has to, the puppeteer only is making them active. Like that, your own body mind sense complex, it cannot do anything by itself. Only in the presence of this Atma, all these activities are happening. Okay. So Karyakarana Sangata Gataha Prananadi Cheshta. So whatever activities of this prana, etc., which are there within your Karyakarana Sangata, within your body mind sense complex, all of them, Sarvaha, they are all like only how the puppets are acting. Okay. The wooden puppets are acting. They are all having some activity. They are doing like this, dancing and all that. But all that is because of whom? Somebody is making them active, correct? Like that only here also. So nahi chetana vad anadishtitasya daru yantrasya iva prananadi cheshta vidyante. So he says, if the wooden puppet does not have a sentient being making them active, they will not do anything. There will not be any cheshta. Similarly, this prana, apana, etc., and all the your own body mind sense complex also, in that there cannot be any activity unless this Chaitanyam is there, this Atma is there. Therefore, what? Tasmat Vijnana Mayena Adhishtitam Vilakshanena Daru Yantravati Prananadi Cheshtam Pratipadyate. So this activity of this prana, etc., is there only because of them being in this Atma. They are all established in this Atma only. The Atma is the one which really gives them existence also, and Atma is the one which really makes them active. So they are all being established in this Atma only. Being in this Atma only, they are all active. Like even the wooden puppets are active because of a certain sentient being. So that is how this Atma itself. So to show the puppeteer, you are showing that puppeteer through the puppet, but that is the only way you can do that, correct? It's an indirect way of revealing. That is because Atma itself is never an object. It cannot be an object, so it has to be revealed like this only. So Yajnavalkya first reveals like this. He has no other option. So Tasmat Saha Asti, but finally what? Therefore, there is an Atma, an individual self different from this body mind sense complex. That itself has to be said, because even modern scientists and all, they think that only this matter is there and only the body is the self also, right? Self is some chemical reaction happening in the brain which gives you the illusion of a self and all that. They talk about it like that. So Shastra has to establish that there is a self other than all these deha. Deha Vyatirikta Atma also Shastra only has to say. And as an individual self, this Deha Vyatirikta Atma, as long as you are ignorant and you are being impelled by your own karma, Dehantara Prapti also is there for that, correct? So it takes another body, etc. But once you know that this individual self is the self of all, and it is free from all activity, you know the reality of that, then there is no more samsara, that is moksha. So for that, first you have to understand that there is something other than the self, other than this body, mind, sense complex is there, and that is the self of all also. That is the teaching here. So yaha, so this, because of this only yaha cheshtayati, that is the one which makes all these things active. Cheshtayati is causal form of the verb. Now continuing, even now our Ushastaha is not happy. In fact, he now asks very, very specifically, don't beat around the bush. Tell me correctly. Show me, like you will show a cow or a horse and all that. So he says, Saho vacha Ushastaha chakrayanaha yatha vibruya asau gauhu asau ashvaha iti. So if I ask you what is a cow or what is a horse, you will clearly show, correct? You can hold the horns of the cow and show this is the cow. Or you can say sasanadi matvam gotvam and all that. Go is the one which has a sasana. Okay, this part below, which is very soft, very nice to touch also. So like that, you have to show me the cow or the horse directly. You don't tell me cow is that which walks. Don't tell me indirectly like that. Our horse is the one which runs. Don't point out like that, but you vibruyat means you clearly vispashtam bruyat. Clearly tell me how you can show me a horse or a cow in the same manner. Ityevam eva etat vyapadishtam bhavati. So you show me this. What is that? Again he repeats. Yadeva sakshad aparokshad brahma ya atma sarvantaraha tam me vyachakshva. So do not tell me indirectly. Show me directly. Like even how you will show me a horse or a cow, and don't beat around the bush telling that by pointing out some activity and all that. Okay. Having been asked again like this, what does Yajnavalkya say? He says the same thing. Yeshate Atma Sarvantaraha. See, I have already told you, it is yourself only. The individual self is the self of all the beings also. There is no difference. In your ignorance, you are taking it as embodied and limited within one body, mind, sense complex, but that's not the truth. So he repeats the same thing. Yeshate Atma. This, yourself alone, is the one which is there as the self in all the beings, everywhere. And again he is not satisfied. Maybe he became angry now, I think. He's asking, Katamaha Yajnavalkya Sarvantaraha. What is that which is the self of all, which is there in all the beings? Means now Yajnavalkya says explicitly, see, I cannot show it to you as an object. That which is never an object, that which can never be objectified, how are you going to see it as an object? So he says, Na drishtehe drashtaram pashyehe. The seer of the sight itself, how are you going to see that? That consciousness is ever, it is always the subject only, correct? It is the eternal subject. It can never be objectified. How are you going to see it? You cannot see it like any other object. So, na drishtehe drashtaram pashyehe, na shrutehe shrotaram shrinuyat. So you cannot hear the hearer of hearing itself. Okay, which is this consciousness, which is the one which knows whether hearing happens or not, which is the one which knows whether eyes are seeing or not, correct? How are you going to objectify that or show it as an object? Na matehe mantaram manvitha. You cannot think about the thinker of the thought itself. You have to say that. Okay, that which is the one which knows whether thoughts are there in your mind or not. Okay, matehe mantaram manvitha na manvitha na vijñatehe vijñataram vijaniya. The one who cognizes whether you know or you do not know. I know, I do not know, etc. So the knower of knowledge itself, the vritti jnanam is there, and the one who knows that I know or I do not know. How are you going to know that Chaitanya? It is always the subject alone. It is an eternal subject. So he says, na vijñate, vijñatehe vijñataram vijaniyaha. It's not possible. I cannot show it to you. That's why I have to indirectly only teach you. So don't think that I am beating around the bush or somehow I am doing some trickery. I am being deceitful and all that. This is how it is possible. This is how it is. You have to understand it as your Atma alone. In fact, you have to give up all the wrong notions. Don't think that you are restricted only to this body, mind, sense complex. Your Atma alone is the one which is there. So he again says, Yeshate Atma Sarvantaraha. So this Atma, your Atma only is there in all the beings. Ataha Anyad Artham. This also is very important. All other things, anything which is an object is perishable, he says. Ataha Anyat. Whatever is other than this Atma, any Anatma, all the Anatma are all limited. They are all perishable, means they come and go. In each and every cognition, the invariable is you. The invariable is consciousness is. Whatever is cognized, the object of consciousness comes and goes, it keeps on changing. So that is all Artham, perishable. Tataha, Ushastaha, Chakrayanaha, Upararama. After that, what? Ushastaha, Chakrayanaha, he also became silent. He understood this, that this Atma or his own Atma is the self of all. And he understood that Yajnavalkya is a great scholar. You cannot defeat him. So he remained silent afterwards. The bhashya we will see next week. There is some bhashya here. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnad Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.